But how far do you have to go before you are above water, right?
Yeah.
So that I think about that fairly often. But your question was about risk. So I've got a coach. I've been working with my coach, and it's a property coach, but always comes back to mindset.
So he's your life coach as well.
So it's coaching is coaching. It's life coach. Whether we speak about, and we've been out together for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about,
we don't mean it in that way. Been together for 3 years now. That's collective.
Not anymore.
We mean we've known each other for 3 years.
But an effective coach gets you to reflect what you are saying, and says it back, and also steers and guides you to be more open to ideas.
Sure.
And in conversations with him, it's like, enough of this. I need to now make the move, but I can't. And he says, why can't you? Okay, let's list this.
Where's the problem?
Okay, let's start at number one. How do we solve for that? How do we solve for that? How do we solve for that? And I was amazed at how we found solutions pretty quick. I was like, hang on a second, actually maybe I can. And I so mapped out a roadmap as to how to exit a salary, exit corporate, and what it would look like after that. The roadmap was there. Of course, without the support of my wife, if you got people around you, they got to be supporting you. And without that, it's going to be very difficult.
So you married right?
I married right. I did marry right.
Yeah.
She might say every so often that.
Is marrying right part of financial strategy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Marrying, love's important. Love's important, but you've got to look at it holistically.
You didn't marry for love?
I'm married for love.
Tell the truth.
Of course, I'm married for love, but love comes and goes.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, but you got to, because if you aren't compatible in other ways, like if your financial strategies are totally different, my wife will never leave her corporate job. It's part of what she does. From a risk perspective, that grounds her. So she's not an entrepreneur like me. In that sense, I don't know if I'm an entrepreneur either, but
you had your first business at 19. You were delivering papers. You're an entrepreneur.
But we're a bit of yin yang. We fit each other.
Yeah.
We are quite different. I'm the broad thinker. I take action. I move forward and then think about it afterwards. Sometimes I'm the broad thinker. She's the analytical. So she'll say, but have you thought about this? And she'll absolutely frustrate me. But I've learned that I need to give that space because she's seeing things that I'm not seeing.
Right.
And I'm seeing things that she's not seeing either. So, and she also appreciates that. So we kind of find each other, and sometimes we probably bang heads. We know we need to go away for a bit and then come back together because we know that together we can do a lot more than if we if we get through that, we can do a lot more than if we try to do it ourselves.
That's amazing. How long have you been married now?
20 years next year.
20 years?
Yeah. 19 years. 19 years in December, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. No.
And then what has your quality of life been compared to when you were in corporate to now that your time is freed up? You can fly to Cape Town, come do podcasts, fly back to Joburg.
So it's definitely not. So I was talking about that route, and with my coach, we had all this mapped out.
Yeah.
The day after I left corporate, that evaporated. I realized that yes, there was a plan, but when reality sets, it's quite different to the night before when I still had a job. So just a mindset, having to solve. But what I learned is that going through that process with him, I just had to figure it out. It wasn't impossible. We just had to figure it out, whatever that was. I left corporate with a list of ideas of other businesses I was going to build and all the rest. And I followed about 3 months afterwards when I realized that You don't build a 100 million rand business in 6 months. It takes years. But I come out of corporate with building businesses like that is how I used to think.
Right.
I started thinking about, where do I make 1 rand? That became my obsession. How do I make 1 rand? Because if I can make 1 rand, I can make 2. If I can make 2, I can make 3, and so on. I just think, dumb it down. How do I make 1 rand? And I started just looking around me. And then the second question is, what's available to me almost immediately that I can make 1 rand on? I had to really dumb it down. And that's how I got into Airbnb, is that I looked at my property. I had properties that were long-term rentals. And I had people around me who were in Airbnb. So I was in the network. I had a mastermind.
The network, yeah.
And I thought, okay, let's go. They're doing well, or they are managing. They are positive. Let me go and do that. And I didn't leave corporate to go do Airbnb. I did it almost out of necessity, but with the right people around me, with almost professional training, I went and invested in a course, and not a cheap course either. But I went and invested in it. I went and invested in putting people around me that knew what they were doing, and the rest is history. And I had a few, and I was lucky enough to find some opportunities along the way, and we kind of grew pretty quickly. And now we're sitting at 19. 2 years ago, we got 19 apartments.
Nice.
Between Cape Town and Joburg. And now understanding the dynamics, not just of a short-term rental business, but the dynamics of having almost a national business.
Of course.
Managing teams from afar, etc. So bringing those elements has been quite interesting, exciting, and there's no limit. When I was back at the office, back at ABSA, the conversation I had with my senior manager at the time was, I'm managing the 70 billion rand book. I have moved a few things that we are earning millions more off this book because I've just adjusted a few things. What portion do I get of that? And she said, your salary.
You wanted a portion of 70 billion.
I want, where's my bonus, or where's my equity, or where's my shares? Because was making, the bank was benefiting exponentially because of what I was doing.
Your skills.
And I wasn't at the level where shares were available, even though I was working at that level, acting at that level. And whereas where I am today, there's no limit. There's no limit. Not just in terms of, can I get more Airbnbs, but how do I think about those Airbnbs? What are the sideline businesses that come out of that?
I mean, what are the other